Hey guys, King of Charm Managers here, and today I bring to you the best AZURE RATHALOS guide. All attacks, tips, and tricks. First, we're going to start out, as usual, with the AZURE RATHALOS Monster Guide entry. It is a flying wyvern species found in forest, only in forests, and its elemental attack is fire and poison. Its elemental weakness is ice and dragon, with its breakable parts being the head, the back, the left wing, right wing, and its tail, which is sever only. Moving on, we have its main characteristics. It is a subspecies of AZURE RATHALOS that has a blue colored shell. It's more mobile than a normal Rathalos and uses a lot of strong aerial attacks. And here's its useful information. A lot of its attacks have wind pressure, so you should have equipment with a windproof skill. Don't actually do it, but yeah, this is what the guide recommends. If you see it gathering strength in midair, it's a sign that it will use a powered up flame breath attack. Avoid this by dodging left or right. This is kind of interesting because it's actually the first time in useful information that it actually tells you what to dodge or where to dodge, at least from what I see, at least for a variant. This variant's flame breath attack burns on the ground longer than a regular Rathalos. So if this girl is on fire, this ground is on fire, and the floor is going to be lava for a lot longer or a little longer than a regular Rathalos. The head, wings, and the tip of the tail are its weak points, so target these when you are engaging AZURE RATHALOS. I love One Piece, and if you know, you know, but Kaido has a powerful breath attack that just absolutely obliterates everything to the ground, and AZURE RATHALOS has a lot of fire attacks that just burn everything to the ground as well. AZURE RATHALOS' ground attacks number 1, we're going to start out with a flaming bite. AZURE RATHALOS will try to bite you, and has one signal. AZURE RATHALOS will open its mouth and pull its head back. It will also stand still. The standing still is probably a bad giveaway. As you see here, it pulls its head back, stands still, wham. You can dodge this by rolling right or backwards. Note, this attack has a short range and a long windup, so it's easy to dodge. You also have to be close for it to use this attack. I also apologize for the footage. I couldn't get a better angle, so I apologize. And for AZURE RATHALOS' ground attacks number 2, we have the charging flaming bite. AZURE RATHALOS will charge at you and try to bite you, and has one signal. AZURE RATHALOS will turn towards you and open its mouth before it runs towards you. You can dodge this by rolling left or right twice or more. And here's an important note, this attack has a rather large hitbox, so it's better to overcompensate when you dodge rather than undercompensate. So if you feel like you have to dodge more than twice, you should probably dodge more than twice. And at ground attack number 3, we have the signature move of the flying wyvern, the tail sweep. AZURE RATHALOS will sweep the area behind it with its tail, and it has one signal. AZURE RATHALOS will look behind it before it swings its tail. Literally, it's going to look behind. As you see, it swings its head, it turns, it's about to break its neck. And you can dodge this by rolling left or right at the right timing, but honestly, the easiest way is like the one I'm showing this in examples. Just roll backwards twice or more. Sometimes you can roll once, but that really just depends on the range. So, to be safe, roll backwards twice or more. Also, here's an important note. If you are hit by the tip of the tail, it will cause poison damage. I don't have an example right here, but it happens when it's regular Rathalos, so it's safe to assume that AZURE RATHALOS will also poison you if you are hit with the tip of its tail. And at number 4 for AZURE RATHALOS' ground attacks, we have the AZURE Fireball. AZURE RATHALOS will shoot a fireball from its mouth, and it has one signal. AZURE RATHALOS will swing its head in the air right here with fire coming out of its mouth. You can dodge this by rolling left or right. So again, it will swing its head in the air with fire coming out of its mouth, and then it will shoot the fireball. You can dodge this by rolling left or right. So left or right. You can also do it backwards or forward, but it has to be a perfect dodge, or it has to be the right angle. And for AZURE RATHALOS ground attacks number 5, we have the AZURE Stomp. AZURE RATHALOS will jump in the air and stomp whatever is under its feet. It has one signal. AZURE RATHALOS will raise one of its legs in the air and stomp the ground before it jumps. So as you see, it raises one of its legs, stomps the ground right before it jumps, or it just takes a step. You can dodge this by rolling backwards. And here's a note, this attack is actually pretty rare. In the 5 battles of recordings I did, it's only done this move once when I was close to AZURE RATHALOS. So again, this attack is pretty rare. And for AZURE RATHALOS ground attacks number 6, we have the AZURE Jumping Fireball. AZURE RATHALOS will shoot a fireball from its mouth while jumping in the air, and it has one signal. AZURE RATHALOS will shake its head with fire coming out of its mouth and its wings open wide. So as you see in this example, the wings are open wide and then they'll flap it after it fires the fireball. You can dodge this by rolling left, right, or backwards. And here's an important note. AZURE will stay in the air and fly after this attack. So after it fires it, as you see in the example, it will stay in the air and stay in flight. And now here's AZURE transition, and we're gonna analyze flight mode. So AZURE will jump in the sky and fly, and it has one signal. AZURE will squat and jump in the sky while flapping its wings. This does not stun you or do any damage, thankfully, and here's a really important note. AZURE will sometimes do this in the beginning of the hunt. So in the beginning of the hunt, AZURE will jump in the air. This gives you a few seconds of time to attack it, and sometimes it will do it in the middle of the hunt. So sometimes in the beginning, sometimes in the middle, it just depends, but usually it's sometimes in the beginning. So just keep this in mind, and again, this leaves AZURE a little vulnerable at the beginning of battle. And at number 1 for AZURE flying attacks, we have the Flying Tail Sweep. AZURE will sweep the area behind it with its tail while it's in the air, and has one signal. AZURE will look behind it and raise its tail high before it swings. So as you see here, it looks behind it and raises its tail before it swings. You can dodge this by rolling backwards twice or more, or once, depending on how far you are from AZURE. So again, it depends on how far you are from AZURE if you roll once. Otherwise, to make it safe, just roll twice or more. At number 2 for AZURE flying attacks, we have the Flying Claw Swipe. AZURE will swipe its claws at you while in the sky, and it has one signal. AZURE will open its mouth while raising both of its legs high. So here, as you see in this example, you can dodge this by rolling left, right, or backwards. And here's an important note: if you are hit by this attack, you will take poison damage. That's why I show all the examples of me getting hit, just so I can specifically show you, you will take poison damage if you are hit by this attack. And at number 3 for AZURE flying attacks, we have the Flying Claw Kicking Swipes. So AZURE will swipe its claws multiple times while kicking him out in front. It has one signal. AZURE will fly high, as you see here, it's flying high, and kick its claws out in front of it. So that flying high and its claws being kicked out in front is the dead giveaway. You can dodge this by rolling left or right twice or more. And here's a note: if you're too close to AZURE, be careful because this attack may stun you. And at number 4 for AZURE flying attacks, we have the Super Claw Kicking Swipes. AZURE will dive in front of it and swipe its claws multiple times while kicking them out in front. An improved version of the previous attack, it has one signal. AZURE will fly high with its mouth open and its head looking down. So you see the example, flies up high, its head is looking down with its mouth open, and bam, it will attack. You can dodge this by rolling left or right twice or more. And here's a note: AZURE will typically land after this attack and follow up with a jumping fireball. So after it is done with attack, it will follow up with a jumping fireball like you see an example right here. So right after it's done landing, usually it'll follow up with this attack and go right back into flight. And for AZURE flying attacks number 5, we have the AZURE Flying Fireball. AZURE will shoot a fireball from its mouth while flying in the sky, and has one signal. AZURE will pull its head back with flames coming out of its mouth. So you see example, head back, flames coming out of the mouth. Oh god, it's about to fire. And you can dodge this by rolling left, right, or backwards. Here's a note: this attack is pretty fast, so be careful. It does have a pretty fast trigger, so again, be careful so you don't take damage. And AZURE flying attacks number 6, we have the AZURE Flame Breath attack. Straight from the useful information, AZURE will breathe fire out of its mouth and burn the area in front of it. It has one signal. AZURE will pull its head back in a snake motion. So as you see right here, it's snake motion. So as it pulls its head up, and flames are coming out of its mouth, and bam. You can dodge this by rolling left, right, or backwards twice or more. And here's a note: this attack burns the ground for a little bit. So if you touch the fire, like you see in this example right here, you will take damage, so be very careful. Again, you touch that flaming floor, the floor is lava, and guess what? That lava hurts if you touch it. So yes, be careful. And at lucky number 7 for AZURE flying attacks, we have the AZURE Super Flame Breath. An upgrade version of the previous attack. AZURE will breathe fire out of its mouth and spread the flames wide in front of it. So you see it spreads out instead of the usual just area on fire in front. Has one signal. AZURE will twist its body air with fire coming out of its mouth. So if you look at the head, pay attention to the body, that twist, dead giveaway. You can dodge by rolling backwards once or twice depending on how close you are to AZURE. So depending how close you are, roll twice to be safe, but again, this fire attack has a wide spread of damage, so just be very careful. And of course, if you touch the ground in front of it while it's burning, you will take damage, so keep that in mind. And at number 8, we have the AZURE flying attacks, which is the AZURE Flying Stomp. the stomp just like Seth Rollins. You have, that's if you're a WWE fan. AZURE will try to crush you by slamming its body into you while it's in the air. And as one signal, AZURE will shake its head and then fly high right before it lands. You see example, boom, it flies high right before it lands. You can dodge this by rolling backwards once or twice. And here's a note. This attack has a long windup, so dodge early if you feel like it. So if it's because of that long windup, fairly easy to dodge, like I mentioned, dodge early if you feel like it so that you can quickly re-engage RATHALOS. And of course, no monster would be complete without its signature roar, AZURE roar. AZURE will yell out a roar that stuns you. And as one signal, AZURE will raise its head, as you see it's raising its head high, with its mouth closed, and then it will roar. You can dodge this by rolling anywhere at the perfect time. Important note though, AZURE can actually perform its roar on both the ground and in flight. So yes, in both forms, whether it's in ground or it is in flight, it can roar, so be aware of that. And here are my tips and tricks for AZURE. Target AZURE head, wings, and the tip of its tail, as those are its weak points for all weapon types, which are blunt, sever, and ranged. Its powerful fire attacks will stay on the ground for a few seconds, so try to avoid the burning ground. I keep saying the floor is lava. Yes, the floor is lava, so do not touch the burning lava. Breaking one of its wings while it's in flight will cause it to fall to the ground. So as you saw in this battle, if you break one of its wings while it's in flight, again, it will fall to the ground, leaving it vulnerable for a few seconds and allowing you to hack away at it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope this video does really help you out, and I wish you the best of luck in all of your AZURE grinds. Remember, it's going to come back, so if you find yourself fearing that or having massive amounts of anxiety because it's going to leave, and you're scared it's not going to come back, it's going to come back. So yes, don't worry about it, it will return. With that being said, please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. I would really appreciate it because these videos take a long time, especially when it's weapon patterns. I mean, not weapon patterns, monster patterns. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.